big premises of this show is really to help you find top professionals in the industry to help guide you and help you make a good choice and help keep you out of trouble and all those things that come with having a good guide. I think once I equated it to having a Sherpa take you up to, the top of Mount Everest. You wouldn't just go do that on your own. You're probably going to want a guide. And today, Zaffer joins us, who's a broker with RE/MAX Northwest Realtors, a member of their Hall of Fame, and a recipient of their President's Club Reward. And, well, first of all, welcome. How are you, man?
Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show.
It's my pleasure. It's always fun with somebody who has a lot of experience. I guess in some ways you've guided a lot of people.
I think I like to use the word guide because really that's what a realtor's function is to guide. To guide a buyer or a seller from making a mistake that they would not easily be able to climb out of. And that comes, of course, with experience, but it also comes with being ethical, speaking your mind, being honest, being truthful, and telling it like you see it. If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it is a duck.
It is. So, or Rick Miners walking down the street, right?
There you go.
So Zaffer, tell us, you get into that guide mentality, and it really is different to consider yourself, I suppose, in sales, trying to sell real estate, trying to sell mortgages, trying to sell financial plans or insurance, versus helping somebody really feel like, you're in their corner. Yeah. What are some of those first steps that you think a buyer should be looking for to, I guess, understand that their person is a guide and not just trying to sell them the first thing that comes along?
I think that as people, we are instinctive. We can tell somebody who's trying to, do a snow job on us, mostly, and somebody who's being honest in their opinion. And I think once you meet a realtor or real estate agent for a couple of times, you get that sense from the way you're being guided, or if you feel most of the information that properties are for sale are available online, Zillow, Redfin, great websites, but they don't tell the whole story. They don't tell the story of a particular home, how is it situated in a neighborhood? How is the sunlight in the morning or in the evening? Other factors that you really couldn't tell unless you went and saw it yourself, or somebody told you what to look for, what not to, or to avoid certain things. So I think once you work with somebody and you get that kind of information, you're with the right person. And I think it's a touchy-feely kind of thing. And sometimes it doesn't work, and sometimes personalities are, different, yin yang. But ultimately, it comes through talking, through meeting, and eventually deciding if that is the right person for you.
And I want to get into things that some people may gloss over or may miss.
Yes.
If they're not working with somebody who has their best interests in mind. But, when you talk about that first meeting or those first two meetings, isn't it important for people to realize that they don't have to go use that real estate agent. They don't have to use that mortgage lender. They don't have to use that insurance agent. There is a meeting, there is a discussion that allows somebody to make that choice one way or another.
Yeah, of course. And I think what you're asking is that, is there a contract that somebody has to sign? Was that your question?
It's not. No, I'm just speaking in generality. You could, I suppose, sign a contract with somebody if you're going to list or buy. But
yeah, of course.
But for the most part, there's this mutual interview, process that goes on that I don't know that a lot of people understand. They can, they're not committing. A lot of people, I think, feel the obligation immediately.
Yeah, and that should not happen. It should be from the heart. If somebody wants you to sign something that they're going to be representing you for the next blah, 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 run the other direction, because you don't want to commit to something you're not sure of. Would you make a commitment to marry someone on the first get-go? Hell no.
Depends on if you're in Vegas or not, I guess, right? Same thing about buying real estate, right? You commit to the first one, you're kind of gambling.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, well, it's like a marriage. It's hard to get away from a home that you bought too.
Hard to get away, isn't it? Hard to get away. We're here at Zaffer Lalji with RE/MAX Northwest Realtor. So, Zaffer, let's talk a little bit about what maybe some inexperienced buyers and even inexperienced real estate agents may start to gloss over when they're working with a buyer.
There's so very many possibilities. It could be, like I'm sitting in this beautiful studio of yours and I'm looking at the traffic jam on I-90. Now, would you recommend somebody buy a home right next to the freeway, even if it was beautifully done inside? No. These are things that are obvious. If somebody doesn't tell you about it, you should be able to see it for yourself. Is it under the path of the airport runway?
You'll notice that pretty quick, about every 30 seconds, wouldn't you? The freeway noise, even the noise in general, I think, is something that if you take just that minute to go sit outside and you sit outside on a deck like you might be doing it otherwise.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Listen, and it's different if you're in the city, of course.
Yeah. There's going to be some sounds. I mean, you want to be where you feel that you're in civilization and not up in the mountains.
It might be country.
Possible. But I think that the signs are pretty obvious. Again, like I told you before when we met, that if somebody is praising every property that they show you or you see, then I think you should take that with a pinch of salt, because, not everything is beautiful. There are some that are, and some that might work for someone else is not going to work for you. Everyone has a different need. So I think that trust your instinct and also trust your realtor to be your guide.
What are some of those things you would guide on? I mean, it seems like, you're not talking about guide them from house to house. You're not talking about being MapQuest or the navigation system, are you?
No. I think that this you get free on Google and Telenav.
Yeah, whatever you know. Yeah. Punch in the address. This is a little bit more in depth.
It's more in depth. It's more, first of all, I think, to understand what it is that your buyer is looking for. And sometimes, you or me, anyone else, we think we want something, but we really don't know exactly what we want. And unless we go and see, unless we understand, and the more we see, the more we learn, and sometimes reject what we thought really is what we were looking for, versus something what really suits our personality, our budget, our commute time to work. If you have a family, do they have a neighborhood park? Things like that are we really don't see immediately, but these are important, and that's why I say that if you tell your realtor up front that these are your criteria, and your realtor does their homework and takes you to those kind of properties, then you will know that you're on the right track with the right person, instead of, otherwise.
What are some of the, when somebody is looking for that right person? I mean, you obviously come from a place where I'm sure people have chosen to work with you. I'm sure there's people who have chosen not to work with you.
And it's vice versa too. I sometimes decline to work with people that I feel that don't really get what I'm trying to tell them, and they're second guessing me. And I think it's a waste of their time and mine.
I agree. There's an element of, there are certain people that you don't work with. There's certain people who won't commit. I think there's an element of a process. As a good professional, you have a system or a process that you work with people. And there's that element of, look, this is how I work. You can't change the way you work for every single person, or else you're going to deliver a different product or different service every single time.
True. Yeah.
You ever heard about the McDonald's pickle?
No, tell me.
So McDonald's, right? You can go anywhere, any McDonald's in the entire world, right?
Yeah.
And it's the exact same thing. You're going to get the exact same system. Now, I'm not comparing anybody's business to McDonald's, but simply from a system standpoint. Have you ever noticed your pickle has never fallen out of your McDonald's cheeseburger? Because they have such a system in place that the pickle actually goes on the same part of the cheese every single time, so that when you eat it, your pickle doesn't fall out.
Wow.
Now you know.
No. Yeah.
It's my favorite story. I don't know.
Yeah, pickles.
Yeah, man. But isn't that the truth, though? You get into, if somebody wants to go to, say, a different type of restaurant, then they can't expect to order a McDonald's with a pickle that's stuck in the middle.
That's true. That's very true. I think that one of the things as people we long for is fidelity, whether it's our friends, our spouses, or our associates. So you have to give your 100% and expect that much in return, rather than, I think sometimes what happens is that when people are shopping homes, but also realtors, they are sometimes just being not true to someone who is willing to tell them the truth and to guide them. And I think that's a mistake. If somebody you feel is giving you the time, then work with them. Sometimes you may not have time, sometimes they may not have time, but if you feel that they are the right person for you, then work with them, give them that. It's important because that's how realtors make them living too.
Yeah,
we have bills to pay.
You talk about that, and it's that whether if both people putting in 100%, and within the real estate world and the things that people may gloss over, this includes maybe the exit strategy for home. This can be a long-term relationship also.
Yeah. I have, as my personal experience, there's a guy who is related to me through my daughter's marriage. And he's been
good guy, I'm sure.
Oh, he's a sweetheart. I have shown him homes and written offers, and he has backed out every time for the last 10 years. I cannot dump him because he's family. But the point is,
makes the holidays kind of awkward, doesn't
it? But I do know that when he does buy it, it'll be the one that I'll be selling to him. So, some people fall in love with the first home, and some people take 10 years, and that's okay. That's part of the game.
And part of it, I think, is 10 years later, knowing you can sell that house.
Yeah, there you go. I think, I suppose he's comfortable with me. I'm comfortable with him. And again, that's what it matters.
It's good. You guys play golf on Sundays and do the whole father-in-law thing?
Something like that.
All right. Sounds good. Well, Zaffer, thanks so much for joining us again from RE/MAX Northwest Realtors. And it is interesting information. You take that guide approach and all these different factors of a home that you might not think about or you might overlook. And
it's very important because remember, like I said earlier, that someday you're going to want to sell the home. And, this is the analogy that I tell my buyers. Really, if you're buying a home, try to buy something that is like chocolate ice cream. Everybody mostly loves chocolate ice cream. So when you're ready to sell, somebody's going to want it. So try to find that sweet spot. You will not go wrong. That's it.
You're like the Zen master, man. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. Again, Zaffer Lalji with RE/MAX Northwest Realtors. When we come back, we are in an election year, you might have heard, although we don't seem to see all the crazy advertisements that they're getting in some of the so-called swing states. But people are still worried about what may happen with real estate and the markets when the election comes in November. Pam McCain's going to join us for the first time from John L. Scott. We're going to discuss governmental affairs and real estate and perception of the market. We'll be right back after this break.